Hello, 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 beautiful people. I am back with you after a little tiny hiatus. There has been a lot that has transpired since the last time that we've been together, but we are back, and I am looking forward to giving you an update on all the things that are happening here in the background. Here at Career Jumps for the Journey, and I can't not talk about it because I think all of us are navigating what the uncertainty and new normal is going to look like for us. If you're based out of the United States or in the United States, there's just so much that has transpired with the election, the results of the election, and the corresponding fear, trepidation, uncertainty that's going along with it. So I just wanted to acknowledge that for many folks who are having a range of feelings and emotions. I want you to make sure you're taking really good care of yourself, taking really good care of your mental health, your emotional health, and finding connection and community in a really thoughtful way. And I don't mean new connection and community, and I don't mean necessarily reaching out to individuals who you don't already know where they stand when it comes to your values and your principles. I mean finding community in places that you know to be safe, that you know to be healthy for you, that you know to be supportive of your full humanity. So I want to encourage everyone to take the time to take really great care of yourself. So I wanted to make sure that I got that out. So, for many of you who have been with me for a long time, it is so great to have you back. I appreciate you joining me. For those of you who are new to the Career Gems for the Journey Live with Leah C. Murphy, I am Leah C. Murphy. Welcome, welcome, welcome into this space. This is an inclusive space. We center the needs and thoughts and priorities of our clients here in this space. And obviously, that allows us an opportunity to have some flexibility, but to really feel an obligation to use our voice. So, welcome to this safe space. And for those of you who are joining me live, please do drop your city in the chat. I would love, love, love to hear from you, to hear what's going on in your world, also to hear how the content that we've been sharing has landed. I check, it's a bit of a vibe check when you drop your city in the chat. So I actually joined this live a few minutes late. And the reason why I joined the live a few minutes late is because there are so many things that are happening. I was almost too late to actually get on the live because there was something going on this morning. There's something going on the rest of this week. We have a big announcement coming. So there's all of these things. So I am actually excited to be able to focus my time and energy in a place that is going to be beneficial and valuable to you, those of you who join me live here, those of you who listen on the podcast, but also to the clients that I support. So that is how I am really doubling down in this season, is to invest in the areas where I believe it'll be most fruitful for myself as well as for you. So with that, I am here to give you a recap of the Pennsylvania Conference for Women. So the Pennsylvania Conference for Women, I talked to you guys about it a lot, kind of ad nauseum, and it happened. Like, it really happened. There was a full in-person event and experience, and I just want to tell you about the event, about the experience, and about what's coming next on the heels of that event. So as we roll through this live experience here, you're also going to start to see some communications and some other things tied to that event, but I don't want to get too fast. You guys know I get into the content, I start to get excited, and I forget all the things I'm supposed to have done. And the first thing I need to do is to make sure that I remind you to join our newsletter. The Career Gems for the Journey newsletter is available to you if you are here today. You just have to head over to gemsforthejourney.org and click the link to sign up for our newsletter. All we need is your email address. We don't need a ton of information, and you will receive in your inbox a curated list, a curated group of ideas, concepts around career, community, and care, which is our focus going into 2025. Career, obviously, we've been doing this work around career for years, and now we want to incorporate this idea of healthy communities when we think about our day two friends. And what does day two friends mean? So day one friends, it's a reference to a Drake song. And Drake talks about no new friends in the song, right? So it kind of became a little bit of a pop culture hit. Drake, I could take him or leave him. But this idea really began to like seep into popular culture, young people, and people all across the spectrum, this idea of no new friends. And I'm here to completely disagree. So maybe this is a hot take, but I'm here to completely disagree. I think new friends in the next season of your life, new relationships, new people to be able to bring in when you're thinking about your intentional network is absolutely necessary. Now, it might not be the time for you to source out those people today or in this week or month, but thinking about bringing in new friends, professional relationships, networks, organizational alignments, things that allow you to be in community with people that are going to help you grow in your career, in your personal life, in your business. Those things are just absolutely necessary. So I'm here to disagree with the idea of no new friends. I actually like to say, there's day one friends, the people who have been with you for a really long time, who know you inside and out, who keep you humble, keep your feet to the ground. And those people are useful and they are necessary, right? It's make new friends, but keep the old is kind of the old adage I like to use. So those people, those day one friends are very crucial. They're critical. Those day two friends, those friends who are there to support you in your second act of life, or you've connected with, whether it's your coworker bestie, or whether it's a parent in your child's school that you were able to connect with, whether you've participated in some kind of professional organization and really, gotten close with someone, whether it's a gym friend, somebody who has a similar interest. Those people help us in our second act of life. So those are our day two friends, and they support us in our second act of life. So when we think about career, community, and care here at Career Jumps for the Journey, we're making sure that those day two friends are in the mix, that they are there to support us, and that we shout them out and give them acknowledgement as much as, or sometimes more than, depending on where you are in the season of your life, as much as those day one friends. So now, I'm here to give you the Pennsylvania Conference for Women recap. So I want to give you guys the good as well as the not as good, as well as the bad, as well as the opportunities where we learned. So, here at Career Jumps for the Journey, we said we don't lose, we learn. So we're here to make sure that we're taking calculated risk and we're taking our own advice to do the things that we're recommending to you. And part of that was to step out of your comfort zone, take a calculated risk for an opportunity that could literally transform the way you see your day-to-day, your life, your career, your community. So first, I'm going to start off with the things that were terrible, and not terrible about the conference, but terrible for me. Terrible about the experience that my team and I had, from miscalculations or misfires on some things, and then going directly into areas where we didn't meet the objectives that we set out. And then we're going to carry into the things that really, really blew our mind and gave us an opportunity to think about how do we want to incorporate this conference specifically, and then other in-person experiences in the future in the work that we do. So straight out of the gate, we're going to talk about our don'ts, right? We're going to talk about our icks for the young people who are listening. We're talking about the things that didn't work for us. So first, we did not have any perspective that we would be navigating this conference post global warming, where it would be November and it would still be 70 degrees. So we absolutely did not plan for our setup experience to be incorporating of 70-degree weather. So as we think about the preparation and all the tools that were necessary to really execute a full booth, and we'll be able to pop up some of the visuals, you'll see some in our posts for on LinkedIn as well as on Instagram. You'll start to see some of the visuals, some of the execution. All of those things were under this assumption when we started planning for this conference months ago, that it's going to be November. It's going to be chilly. We want to make sure that we have, things that are cozy for people. We want to make sure that we bring our own, warming needs to the table as we think about setup. Completely contradictory. This conference is in Philadelphia. It was a week ago tomorrow. And that conference, the day that we had to set up, it was 70 degrees. There was just, sun was beaming. Everyone was sweating. So many people were uncomfortable. We didn't plan well on our hydration side when we were doing the setup. It took us multiple hours to get everything into where we wanted to be in the place. And the weather just threw us absolutely for a loop. So when I think about what I would do differently, we're navigating a post global warming experience, we're constantly thinking about climate change, and we're thinking about the impacts of climate change on our day-to-day lives. And it wasn't this kind of like someone else will be impacted. It was November 6th, 2024, and it was 71 degrees on that setup day in an open convention center, basically like warehouse, high ceiling, garage door, dock door setup event. We were pouring sweat as we are carrying boxes off trucks and off of hand trucks. So the weather threw us for a loop. That's number one. Number two, second thing that was really like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do differently? How do we show up? For the first time ever, the book Salary Power Moves, Winning the Compensation Negotiation, which you guys know I always keep a copy right here. So I have the copy with me. It was available in print for the very first time. And we were so excited to be able to offer it to our conference attendees. And we wanted to make sure that folks had a hard copy of this book, of this product that so many of you have said change your whole perspective on salary negotiation. So it's still available on our website in print as well as in ebook form. It's also available on Amazon in print and in ebook form. So we wanted to make it widely available for as many people as possible at the conference. And we did. We had copies available. And what we learned is that there was already a conference bookstore on site, and that bookstore experience was really cultivated and curated by the conference ahead of time. So folks had already gone and taken advantage of the bookstore experience, which we knew was going to happen, but we didn't realize that there were going to be so many people who were selling books generally at the bookstore, such that we weren't able to really get the chance to connect with people who were navigating the rest of the career fair floor, because the bookstore group was very specific to the books that they were offering. And because this book started out as a workbook, as an ebook, and that was really the intention, so that it could be digitally available across the world, that there would be no barriers to access for it. This being its first time available in print, I absolutely had the printer set us up, but I forgot to add that it was an Amazon bestseller on the cover of the book, which is true. It's an Amazon bestseller, so that was a total miss on my part. But the facts are still the facts, and you'll see that when you find it in other locations. And then the second thing is, because it's an ebook and it started out as a digital tool, now it's a mini book, right? It's intentionally set up for you to be able to work through and do exercise, to be able to read, to be able to write in the margins, to be able to set up your next negotiation strategy. So a lot of folks come to conferences looking for giveaways, looking for handouts, looking for, a free water bottle, a tchotchke, a keychain, a cup, a mug, all of the things, right? And that is great. I remember being in that season where giveaways were the main priority, but we wanted to make sure that we set ourselves up to be able to get copies of the book, as well as Triumph in the Trenches, Navigating Success for Black Professionals. But folks were more focused on giveaways and not as much on actually acquiring books that we thought were going to be amazing resources for the target audience that was the conference. So we bought lots of copies of the book intentionally to be able to put some of those copies in the bookstore that was tied to the conference, and also to be able to sell copies of the book at our booth. So on the upside, we did sell quite a few copies of the book, but not nearly as many as we acquired. So we purchased and upfront made a major investment and doubled down on what we thought was going to be a really successful strategy. And what we realized was it wasn't necessarily tied into the same strategy that the overall conference was executing. So we learned a lot from that. So I say we don't lose, we learn, because those books, those tools, the things that we were able to bring to that conference that we weren't able to sell at that time will be able to be incorporated in other parts of our business. We'll be able to use them with other clients. We know that we'll be able to put them to work, but we didn't realize that the conference experience was going to be so different, that people were looking more for free giveaways as coming from a vendor perspective, and less of the purchasing books. So we did have lots of people that purchased books. Most of those people were people that had already connected with us on LinkedIn and connected with us on other social media platforms. So we were so grateful. So grateful for those people who stopped by our booth, who shouted us out, who acknowledged us. But the quantity that we had prepared for was far greater than the conference itself. So those are the two takeaways, right? Those are the things that we learned. One, planning for weather, planning for setup and resources to make sure we're in the best possible position and condition as we go into the conference. And then also thinking about the target, the individual who's at the conference, and what are they looking for? And are they willing to carry a book around? Are they willing to, stop by a booth and take an opportunity to acquire a book as opposed to going to the bookstore? So we learned a lot from that, and we will retool our strategy going forward. So let's go to the things that went really well. The things that went really well, and I'm talking about knocked it out of the park, fantastic experience. We were able to be in person with people that we would have never had the opportunity to be in person with otherwise. And there were some people from relationships that I had had, previous professional relationships, people who had joined me on LinkedIn, people who are part of the Career Gems for the Journey community, people I had come across with or had heard about the work and wanted to stop by and see the booth and get a sense of what we were doing. We had people who were new to career, people who were experienced in their career and on the other end thinking about retirement. We had people stop by our booth who were looking to make career pivots. We had everything and all of the things, which really was the real objective of the conference, to be able as a vendor to engage with people in person, hear a little bit more about the work that they are looking for support on, and to be able to introduce them to the Career Gems for the Journey team and to our business holistically. There were quite a few posts that went out from my team as well as from folks who stopped by the booth. And we're so grateful for everyone who did post and talk about the work that we were doing at the booth. Kiana Nunn is a name that comes to mind as someone who purchased the book and also did a post immediately after on LinkedIn. I signed individual copies of her book, and she was able to walk away with a phenomenal resource, and we were able to have such a wonderful exchange in person. So that is something that I was completely terrified of, right? And I talked about this a lot going into the conferences. This is the first time that we were going to have the opportunity to engage with folks in person. And I really wasn't sure how it was going to go, or I wasn't sure if we were in a great location from a booth standpoint that we were going to get the foot traffic that we were looking for. So the upside was because I had talked about it and shared with you guys where we were going to be and identified our booth and talked so much about attending the conference that we had lots of people that traveled to stop by our booth specifically. And it was just heartwarming and so gratifying that people really did do exactly what I asked, which was like, if you know our work, please come stop by, shout us out. We would love to have some positive energy and some positive vibes. So we absolutely felt that in the room. Now, the other thing that went well was it sounded like, and I didn't get to sit in on a lot of them, the speakers brought their very best. They brought their very best. People were at this conference, and though we had just come off a really tough week, or we were in the midst of a really tough week, it seemed like the speakers dug down to be able to give some acknowledgement to the women that were in the room. There were so many accomplished, capable, brilliant, talented professionals who were in this room and in this conference community, that to be together, right? To have an opportunity to see one another and be seen, you could feel it in the room that there was a really significant kind of vibration and tone that people were able to connect in person, get some inspiration, do some networking, meet with some of the vendors, build some new relationships, and just learn more about some of the great things that are available via this conference. The Pennsylvania Conference for Women has been around for a really long time, and it's a very credible organization. They have been delivering some top tier speakers for years. So because of the cachet of the conference, there were also a lot of people who were there just strictly to learn more about this conference and to be in the midst. And part of that really was inspiring for me because there were women across, whether it was pharmaceutical, whether it was financial, whether it was consumer goods companies, all of the sectors of the economy were represented, and they were represented through women who were in this space and who were looking for inspiration, community, relationship building, networking, new job opportunities, you name it. And consistently, when I heard people coming out of the speakers hall or navigating the vendor area, they were having a phenomenal experience. They were getting exactly what they came for, and sometimes even more. So I think because the conference has such great credibility and it's put on such a powerful event that's nonpartisan for so many years, there were people of all stages of career and all stages of life who were in the space, and we got to have in-person interactions in a really intentional way. So absolutely phenomenal. And then the last thing that went really, really well for me as a first time vendor who was navigating the space from a place of, I believe that there are people here that are definitely meant for me to connect with. And I want to be able to cultivate those relationships. So many people actually stood in line and waited to be able to interact with myself or members of my team. So much so that I was feeling super motivated. I was excited to be there. I had to schedule in myself to be able to take breaks, to be able to sit down, go get something to drink, take care of myself personally. But the energy and the connection for the people who sought us out and came to the booth was bar none. Like, it was just top tier. It was excellent. And then when there was a lull, when speakers were on stage, and there was a chance to be able to pause and look up, I got to walk around the floor just to connect with some of the other vendors. The other people who chose to be there saw this conference as a great opportunity to be able to connect with the people who were the attendees to the conference. And I was absolutely impressed by how many high quality experiential service providers, as well as product providers who were selling at this event. And then I had the amazing opportunity with Cheyenne Corbin from Fox 29. She actually stopped by the booth and did a quick interview. So you guys will see that post going up on LinkedIn or maybe on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, follow me at Career Gems for the Journey, and you'll see that I had an opportunity to do a quick spot on Fox 29, which actually aired live on the news later on that evening. So for me, it was a no-brainer that the Pennsylvania Conference for Women created an environment that then I was able to completely benefit from, whether it was from introductions, relationship building, operating as a vendor in person for the first time and getting that learning, also getting an opportunity to do large scale press that I didn't even know was going to be a potential. So meeting with someone like Cheyenne at previous events, seeing her work, seeing the credibility of what she had done, and then her coming by my actual booth to learn more about what we were doing at Career Gems for the Journey, talk more about what women are looking for. And I was able to share with her that I think women are looking for coming out of a presidential run for Vice President Kamala Harris. Coming on the heels of that, there was a lot of desire to be honest about what women are asking for. And I think what I shared with her, and you guys will see it on the spot, is like, women are still very much motivated to be ambitious. Ambitious is not a dirty word. Ambition is not a dirty word. And I think actually recognizing that some of us don't want to be perceived as resilient, we don't want or need any more resilience. Oftentimes we've navigated and overcome and demonstrated our capability and success in so many areas. So we're not looking for more opportunities to prove ourselves. Right now, we're just trying to exist. We're trying to exist. We are trying to have life, liberty, joy, community. We are simply trying to exist and to do it to the best of our own ability, without the expectations or burdens or responsibility to save, to create, to partner with, to be in community with anyone who demands our labor or demands access to us. We are trying to exist to build a life for ourselves, and that is based on an economic security. We want to make sure that we think about economic security, community, right, and care. So when we think about that career, community, and care, our career provides some outlets that allow us to think about our economic security and to double down on making sure that we're creating those opportunities for ourselves. So tools like Triumph in the Trenches, Navigating Success for Black Professionals, tools like that book, which we talked a lot about and interviewed several other authors. And there's actually a part 2 to that book that's coming out in February. So I'll bring some more authors to talk through that with them. And then tools like Salary Power Moves, Winning the Compensation Negotiation. These 2 books that I've been a part of are exactly the tools that many of the women who showed up to the Pennsylvania Conference for Women need. So that was the closer for me, is that I have the benefit and the pleasure of doing work that I absolutely believe is having a positive impact on the lives of women in my community and nationally and even internationally. There were women from all over the region, and then I got to connect with women all over the world after the conference, whether it's through LinkedIn posts or whether it's because they saw something on the conference, or maybe even via social media they saw the local news spot. And it just reminded me and reinforced the mission that we are really marching towards here at Career Gems for the Journey, which is, first, we want to help 10,000 women learn how to negotiate for better compensation. We still remain steadfast and committed to that mission. And then second, we are here because we want to help professionals thrive in their career. We want to help professionals build thriving careers. That's what we're here to do. That's how we're going to serve our clients. That's how we're going to have a positive impact on the world as we know it today, on our country, on our region, on our community. So the Pennsylvania Conference for Women was absolutely a phenomenal experience overall. 2 of the 3 objectives that we set, we absolutely met and knocked it out of the park. And we learned a lot from being there in person. But by far, what I recognize and what I see there is the work that we're doing matters. It is definitely impactful to an audience of people. And if we impact just one individual from participating in a conference like that, we know that we're doing the right thing. We know that we're on the right track. And also, in-person engagements is something that people are striving for and people desire, they're craving. And it is up to leaders of these kinds of organizations like the Conference for Women, Pennsylvania Conference for Women, and other events to create safe, healthy spaces for people to be able to gather in person if that's what they desire. So ultimately, it is up to people who have decision-making power, who have budgets, who have access, who have influence over the environments and the spaces that we create going forward to make sure they remain safe, to whether it's psychologically safe, physically safe, relationally safe, for people to be able to participate, because the spectrum of people who want to participate and show up for these kinds of events in cities like Philadelphia is broad. And we want to make sure that we can call in the right individuals who are looking to do the right things at the right time. And this conference, I think, did a good job navigating it. And I am absolutely excited to partner with them in the future. I see myself partnering with the Pennsylvania Conference for Women in the future as a moderator on the main stages. I think there's a great opportunity for me to merge what we're doing here on the LinkedIn Live and what we're doing on YouTube, as well as what we're doing on the Career Gems for the Journey podcast. I see myself partnering and collaborating with them in the future as a moderator. So if you are listening, Pennsylvania Conference for Women, and I think some of you may be, I'm looking forward to next year, to 2025, and being able to work as a moderator to facilitate some of these great conversations that we're seeing being had from Robin Arzone, from Cheryl Lee Ralph, from Martha Stewart, and from my absolute favorite who was on stage at the event, Dawn Staley. People like those they have amazing stories to tell that are going to be inspirational, that make them more accessible, that absolutely inspire people from the stage. And I think I want to be a part of an audience or a part of supporting those stories being shared as a moderator. And I absolutely think that I could kill it. So excited to be able to partner with them in the next phase, in the next season. So we will evolve how Career Gems for the Journey participates in in-person events like Pennsylvania Conference for Women. And we'll evolve that from a moderator perspective, and then maybe even from a main stage perspective, where I get the opportunity to keynote speak at a conference like Pennsylvania Conference for Women. I've seen some of the small breakout sessions, which were phenomenal. I know Leah Sharp Brown killed it in her moderator session. I've seen in the past, Rakia Reynolds has done phenomenal work at some of the small stage breakout sessions. So I'm excited for the next phase of partnership with this organization, because I think that they do really great work. And I think that there is lots of opportunity to make sure that there is great representation across skills, capability, career phases. And I want to be a part of that, part of the Pennsylvania Conference for Women. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to 2025, 2026, and beyond, and supporting them in a moderator capacity or on a main stage capacity at some time in the future. So that is my recap of the Pennsylvania Conference for Women. Thank you so much for everyone who has been riding with me as I've gone through this process and taking a step well out of my comfort zone to leave this side of the camera and go to an in-person engagement. I appreciate it. I was absolutely terrified, but by the time 10 o'clock hit and we got moving, I felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And the experience completely flourished and blossomed into what I needed, but I didn't even realize I needed at the time. And then the cherry on top was the opportunity to be able to do the spot with Cheyenne. So it was a great experience overall. And I'm looking forward to the relationships and the introductions that were made during that conference to really circle back, to really do the level of follow-up and intentional relationship building that is possible when you've had a great initial in-person engagement, and you can carry that into relationship building, business development, partnerships, collaborations, you name it. So I'm really looking forward to all that's going to come as a result. So phenomenal experience. Looking forward to future partnership opportunities with the Pennsylvania Conference for Women. You can still get copies of Salary Power Moves, Winning Compensation Negotiation, available on Amazon in print and digitally on Kindle. We also still have copies of Triumph in the Trenches, Navigating Success for Black Professionals, available on our website at gemsforthejourney.org. You can get this book in print. That's available now. And you guys know, I told you I bought, the inventory is there. So as soon as you order, we will be able to fulfill your order. You can get a combination of both as we're navigating this next, season for ourselves. Think about them as gift giving opportunities as we go into the holiday season, because I think that there is still great tools and resources that people are craving. And based on the feedback that we heard at the conference, the need is still there. So looking forward to what's to come for that relationship. And now I have a quick update. Last week or 2 weeks ago, when I joined you live, I told a lot of folks who were here with me live that I was going to be at the Afrotech conference. Unfortunately, that has changed. I won't be able to be at the Afrotech conference. I had another shift that required my attention, so I'm not going to be able to be there in person, but I'm looking forward to the future moderation opportunities with the Afrotech conference. Originally, there was a talk that I was going to be able to be the moderator for. That talk has since shifted and changed. So the need for me to moderate at that conference has gone away, but I believe that we'll have an opportunity again, because I know that the conference is doing great work. I'm excited for what they do. I'm excited for what Afrotech represents to the culture. And when the opportunity presents itself to be a moderator on that main stage, I will absolutely jump at that and look forward to partnering with them too. So that is everything for me. And we've been together for a little while now, so I appreciate you riding with me. I'm looking forward to us connecting. Next week, we're going to have a little bit of a unique setup. We're going to have someone interviewing me, and I won't give you too much of a lead, but join us next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be reversing it, right? I'll be the one sitting in the hot seat and answering questions about the work that we're doing and what's going on on the horizon for Career Gems for the Journey. So we look forward to seeing you then, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here, streaming live on LinkedIn as well as YouTube. So I ask that you take the very best care of yourself. I implore you to be well, physically, spiritually, and mentally. I absolutely appreciate you riding with me here. And for everyone who came to see me in person and check in with the team in person at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women, I absolutely love you guys. Thank you so much for making that experience one that was memorable and impactful for our first time out. And until the next time we're together, make your journey work for you. And I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Until then, take care all.